What's going on, guys? I don't know if either can see me or hear me, but welcome. Welcome to our lunchtime webinar, back again for another one this year. And today we're talking about unlocking the power of your website with 5 key strategies. My name is Bart Anderson. I'm going to give you guys maybe 1 or 2 minutes to make sure that everyone can log in, and we're going to get started right away. Like always, our webinars are just 30 minutes long, trying to give you the most useful information in a short amount of time because everybody's busy, everybody has something to do. So, firstly, I want to make sure that if you're here watching, just drop in the chat where you're watching from. Say what's up to me. I can see the chat here, and we're going to get started really, really quickly. The other thing I want to make mention to you is we do have a resources page on our website, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. But if you want to jot down creativepartner.ca, okay, we're going to talk about some of the resources that are available for that could help you, that are available for you. So, without further ado, we're already 1 minute in, which means we only have 29 minutes left. Welcome. For those of you that don't know, my name is Bart Aniston, and I run a design and branding agency here in the city of Toronto. And we are fortunate enough to be branders and designers with web design and with branding and brand specializing and development. And we've seen a lot of different websites come through fruition through the years of us being a company. And part of that, we've seen some very basic things that often get missed in terms of how websites are produced or thought of, and how they can be leveraged even more in such a digital age that we live in. There's a lot of small, repeatable offenses, if you want to say, that maybe can stop you from seeing the growth that you're expecting to see from maybe having a website or maybe presenting yourself online. So all of that to say, we understand one thing for sure here at Creative Partner, and that is that people want to buy from people they know, like, and trust. Okay, so that's the premise of everything that we're going to be talking about, is building that genuine connection that fosters growth. Okay, people want to buy from people they like. You can have the best work in the world, but if you're a hassle to deal with and they don't necessarily enjoy you, then they're not going to buy from you and they're not going to be your customer. So let's get started with our 5 tips that are going to help you unlock the power of your website. These may seem very basic, but they do have fundamental powers to them, meaning that the structural power to them is very strong. They hold a lot of weight. First things first, uh, your website is not for you. Okay. A lot of times we're seeing websites when we're coming in as a consultant or we're coming in as an agency trying to help a company. A lot of times what we're seeing is customers are a little bit confused and lost, and that's because the companies, these firms, have not taken the time to kind of help customers know that this is your space. This is a space that's specifically for you. So one of the big things you have to understand is you have about 5 seconds before somebody makes a decision about whether they like you, they want to engage with you, they want to do a little bit more research. So it's crucial to make it easy for visitors to stay on your website. Many designers make the mistake of focusing too much on showcasing their work rather than considering the visitor's needs. So we service a lot of interior designers and architects, people in the design and build space. But what comes with that is a lot of all the accolades, all the portfolios, gallery images, or the media is all up front. And it's very nice to speak on that. And it's very nice to tell people that you are, critically acclaimed or you have won a prestigious award in your area. You want to think of it as if you were the customer. Uh, what does that do for me? Right? A lot of times clients want to know how they can actually work with you. So yeah, people are coming to your website for a reason. Either they heard about you, and you come up on like SEO search, like you've shown up on a search, or they've been referred to you, or maybe you have a blog that is like, an auxiliary reason that they have come to your website. That all means that when they get there, they have a purpose. They didn't just stumble upon your website. And if they did stumble upon your website, it's because they were probably researching a lot of websites. So what that means for you is you need to have a clear path for them to understand why they're here, reaffirm that they're at the right place, and help them find what they're supposed to be doing. So the first thing you have to understand, a website is not about you. We get caught oftentimes thinking about how it's going to look to other contemporary design firms in our industry, and that looks great, it sounds great, but it doesn't actually do the work of getting clients that pays your bills. Websites should be designed with your ideal client in mind, addressing their problems, and how your designs or your process is going to help them. Most people want to know, what's it work like here? How do I engage with you? And how do I come up to a place where we can make a decision about you? So we want to emphasize the importance of making websites client centric, and the first step in doing that is to remember that the website is not for you; it's for the client. Think of it this way: imagine there was two different websites. Okay, website A, it had a homepage, it had project images right away. It was all about them, who they've worked for, awards they won. Maybe they use special language on there, like they want to be cute or they want to be fancy. They put language in there. Maybe they call it a journal instead of a blog or whatever. The contact form is very generic. It just has an email address, a phone number, maybe a physical address. And then think of like another website, website B. The homepage has a clear statement about who they are, who they help, and how they solve the problem. They have a clear call to action. We'll talk about that in a little bit. They exact steps about how to work with them, how to engage them into service. They maybe have a fee outline, maybe not specific, but they break down what are the components that make up the fee. Maybe they have a booking form to get a free consultation, and they have a blog with helpful and up to date resources. Now, regardless of how many awards or how many accolades, who would you as a client rather work with? It's the person who seems more organized and has thought through the process from A all the way to Z is the person who you're going to most likely feel more comfortable with. Why? Because they've given you more information. They were able to give you more information about the scope of how they do business and how they get the results, not just showing you the results of, look at these great projects we've worked on and look at these great awards that we've won. Okay. Uh, Here's the key takeaway. Even if you believe that your service or business model is too expensive or too high end to have a basic website like this, the facts remain that these things are proven to help you deliver clarity to your customers, and your customers will in turn feel like they are alongside you in the process and not like they're kind of grasping for straws, trying to figure out how do they engage with you, how do they stay in touch with you. Sometimes there are different purposes for websites in different places, and I want to touch on this just for a quick moment because I know we very little time left. Um, there are, let's say, and I live in Canada, there is a big architectural firm called Gensler. They're worldwide. And if you were to go to their website shows very broad stroke ideas, but it's because the website, it has an intended purpose that is very different than a local or even a regional or national architect or a design firm. Gensler is big on their research, big on their thought leadership. And so they push their blog and their articles and their research that they do uh, more than they talk about their actual architectural work that they're doing. They don't need help finding work. But A lot of companies that are still making millions of dollars a year still require a website to speak to customers that could engage them. So whether you believe you're high end or you're low end, if your goal is to get conversions from your website, these things are very, very true. Okay. So that's step number one. Know who your website is for. It's not for you, it's for the client. And so consider exactly how the want to engage with you, and consider exactly how the client is going to want to understand what your process is like to make them feel comfortable. Because if I was looking to hire somebody, I would want to have somebody who would make me feel more comfortable, uh, and knowing that the project is going to get done based on their process. Okay. Number two, you need to know who you help and what problem you solve. It is super important to work on having a clear homepage statement on your website, no matter what business that you're in or industry that you're in. A clear statement about who the business helps and what problem it solves should be featured prominently in the hero section of your webpage. The hero section is like the first portion of the website that loads up on your screen, and then that way you're able to see, oh wow, okay, this is who they stand for, this is what they're about. And it needs to be crystal clear about who you're servicing and who you're helping and why you're the best to help them. Key pages like homepage, portfolio, services, blogs, contact pages should be included in a website structure. These are basic things. And I gotta emphasize again, don't try to be cute when you're trying to solve a problem. Nobody likes to feel like they're not in the loop. Nobody likes to feel like, oh, you're speaking at a level that I just don't understand. So don't use special words. Don't use your own made up situations and scenarios. Speak in a language that is common. Speak in a people feel included in what you're doing, and they're gonna again know, like, trust you, and people buy from people that they like. All right. So I like to use this formula whenever we're trying to think of a basic homepage statement. It can obviously be emphasized, embellished, or not embellished, but you can add some more to it. But this is a basic framework here. We, or the company helps blank. Okay, our ideal client. All right, with blank. Okay, with what problem? Okay, what are the problems that they're doing by having blank, which is the product, your service, or your offering. I know it sounds a little bit odd. Let me give you a few examples here. Here's one that we did before. Interior Studio helps families improve their functionality of their home while making it beautiful and easy to live in. You see how clear that is? If I'm a client and I'm coming to a website, this firm helps families improve the functionality of their home while making it beautiful to exist or easy to live in. Here's another one. Uh, so this is just another. I'm not going to say the name, but let's say ABC Designs creates luxury high-end homes for New York residents. We take the stress out of renovating with our full service design process that takes you from concept to completion. So again, people who are living in this very specific statement, New York, high-end luxury, they go from concept, so they can do all the drawings and artwork, to completion. Okay, hopefully that means they get permits and do all the millwork and all that finalizing as well. That tells you exactly what to expect when you're working with them. Alternatively, if you're an individual and you're working inside of a firm, let's say Sally. Let's say, okay, Sally helps homeowners make the most out of their budget by guiding them on where to spend and where to save on their renovations. So having a clear homepage, having something that the homepage statement is going to help the customer understand specifically how you're going to help them, and speak in a language that is natural. You don't want to speak above them. You don't want to be exclusive. We want to be inclusive with our language. Who you help and what problem do you solve? We have a customer persona uh, uh, worksheet that we have on our website, and this is the part where I mentioned at the beginning, where we were going to we're going to mention some resources that you can download from our website. If you go to creativepartner.ca/resources, I'm going to put it inside the chat near the end. You can go ahead and find a lot of these resources there, including our customer persona, including our website pre-launch checklist. That will be there for you as well, that you can go ahead and download. Okay, that was number two. Number two is making sure knowing who you help and what problem you solve. Number three, use multiple call to actions. Okay, this is something very simple, but at the same time, sometimes overlooked. So it's not easy to get people to come to your website, right? We've done most of the work is getting them to come to the actual website to spend time there. So you have to maximize it. You have to make sure that people are feeling that they're going to stay for not just 5 seconds, but you're going to attract them by using your user research and understanding the behavior of what they're going to do on your website. So they may have come because of a blog, right? Like I mentioned before, maybe you have good articles about design that they want to come and see, and now that they're here, you want them to look around. They may have heard about you from word of mouth, maybe a billboard, maybe you have an email newsletter, maybe a friend told them about you, or maybe they're doing basic research and they're looking for people that are local. Maybe you have some local SEO working in your favor. Either way, they don't have that many reasons why they would come to your website other than they probably are interested in something that you're doing or offering. Nobody just decided to type in your exact URL and just said, I'm just going to see what happens if I press enter. It's because they heard about you, or you're offering something, or you're providing content or thought leadership in a space. So, with that in mind, be very conscientious about how you're setting up your call to actions and have them tiered. Don't have every option both in your menu system and then also on your homepage. Make it very clear for people and say, listen, this is our main thing that we do, and this is how you can connect with us to do it. So once they have scrolled a little bit down on your homepage on your website, there should be something that tells them, here is our main thing that we do. And then you want them to go to it. We're a design agency. For us, that is our digital roadmap. That's our main thing that we do. It's our strategy plan, basically, that we offer to our clients. So once you scroll down, the first thing that you're going to see is us explaining what our digital roadmap is and how to get involved with us. That's what we want people to know, how to work with us. What is that for you in your industry, in your space? How are you going to help people navigate your website? You don't want it to be where there are lots of multiple call to actions that are going to confuse people. Okay, you want to have multiple call to actions, but are geared towards the right way, right place. So having multiple call to actions that are all going to every service you offer, every way to connect, very confusing. But if you gear maybe your blogs that are geared towards your main service that can show up on your homepage, or if you have testimonials that are also geared about your main service that have a call to action, that way you have multiples of the same call to actions that are pointing to the main thing that you want people to do when they get to your website. Okay, number four, give people what they expect. Again, the main focus of a website should be attracting and appealing potential clients. Okay, so don't be cute. Don't try to have things be in a very artistic way. I know, as designers, I'm a designer myself. We want things to be expressive. We want things to really reflect what and how we do. So we do things our own way. We are trendsetters. But when people come to a website, it can be very disorienting if they don't understand the flow and concept. It's not natural to how they naturally scroll through and browse the internet. So having a clear homepage, some type of service page, or how to work with us, or our offerings, or even stuff like that, blog, portfolio, or case studies, contacts. Don't try changing the names of things, of our our articles and our journal or notebook, which is like for a blog, or changing the words of how you're actually engaging with the clients that are coming to your site. Designers, you need to try to avoid making websites overly complex and focus on impressing your clients and not impressing the other designers that you know. Ultimately, the goal is to create a website that addresses the needs and expectations of the ideal client effectively. So, yes, there is some self learning that needs to happen here where you need to decide, okay, how am I going to understand who my ideal client is and how am I going to speak to them in a way that is clear? And then from there, now you can build a website that is matching those needs, matching the desires that are there. Uh, a lot of times when we're coming in and helping clients, what we're seeing is that they are producing work that is great, but the way that they're presenting it is not for the intended user. It's for the people who are maybe in their own industry. Okay. Lastly, and not leastly at all, is social proof. Social proof is number five. Social proof is very powerful because it allows you to use testimonials, awards, your media, your features to build credibility and trust. And like I said before, we are trying to build trust here so that people can know and understand who you are and ultimately make a decision to buy from you. So in terms of doing this, there's a nice way of doing it, and there's like a not nice way of doing it. The not nice way of doing this is kind of putting it up front, almost as your validator to say, "Hey, look at us, look what we've done." And we spoke about that at the beginning, where we don't necessarily want clients to think that we're thinking about ourselves at the jump. So when we speak with clients, we don't want them to feel that the focus is on us. We want them to feel that the focus is on them. So put it on your website. Don't make it the biggest and the loudest portion of your website. So how can we do this? You can have a section in your about us that talks about your awards. Maybe you don't need a whole page dedicated to awards in your history or your about us, talk about your local awards, your national awards that you've won. Same thing with your work, you know, showcasing your work. Uh, there's a way to do this that can actually help your business feel more natural for the client, where you can put maybe a portfolio and case studies together. Have the case studies up front because again, I think the case studies are more clear to how your business is going to share how people can connect with you and understand the process. When you're sharing a case study, you're sharing what the problem was, you're sharing what the solution was, how do we come to this, what was the the rollout of this whole plan. So that means if I'm reading this, more than just pictures of, highly edited photos of the work that you've done, I get to understand what the client needed and how you solved the problem. How did you approach this? And what was your execution on this? This is a very powerful. This is something that is going to help your clients understand, oh, I trust this person. They've worked on a similar type of project. They've worked in a similar type of environment. Okay, this is somebody I want to bring to my boss. This is somebody I want to bring to my husband or my wife, my spouse to come and us have a conversation about this. And like I mentioned before, clarity is always going to help make decisions. So if you make it complicated for people to understand your case study, then there's going to be more and more problems in terms of people knowing where you stand and how they can engage with you. You don't want to stand in your own way. And sometimes people feel like, oh, this is just for people who are starting out, or this is just for people who maybe are going to spend $5 or $10,000. I've seen people have a very basic but clear website, and then they are closing $500,000 deals on these types of websites. It's because it's clear. It's because you are inviting the customer or the client to see themselves in your narrative by not talking about yourself first, but showing them how your process and how your expertise and how your social proof really has brought you to this place. Same thing with having reviews or testimonials. People are looking for authenticity about what it is. If it's just pull quotes that you're getting from emails, rather than just pulling the information, take a screenshot. Take a screenshot of what the conversation was and place it. Ask for permission, of course, but place it because now it looks more authentic when people see a screenshot of maybe an interaction that you had with somebody, that they're speaking for themselves. They can see that it's real. People don't like where things look showy and fake, like it's out of a magazine. People want to know that it's authentic. Okay, this company actually hired this firm, and look at the work that was done. And I see the email thread here, of course. So authenticity adds for that as well. And if you've been featured inside of a media or news, it's good to put that stuff out there as well. You can put that in your as seen as, in some of your other social proof where you're who you've worked with inside your portfolio. Again, tasteful, client-centered work is what's going to help you deliver excellent results on your website, no matter how big of a corporation you are or how new you are to the business. These 5 strategies are going to help you unlock the power of your website. And of course, it's really understanding, number one, this website is not about you, it's not for you, it's for your client. Number two, remembering who you help and what problems that you solve. Number three, having multiple call to actions. Number four, give people what they expect. And number five, having social proof. Okay, guys, we did it. There's only about 4 minutes left. For anyone who is watching, you can put a question in the chat. But while you're doing that, I just want to make mention of, again, the resources page on creativepartner.ca. We have some great resources that are there, from helping you brainstorm, from SEO guidelines to how to, before you launch your website, your pre-launch checklist. You can get all that information there. Go to Creative Partner. I'm just going to type it into the chat right here before. There we go. So you'll see that there. You can hit the link inside the chat, and you'll be able to download as many resources as you want. They're all free. I don't charge for the resources. If you want to put something there, you can, of course. But this is, I think, very meaningful and powerful for understanding, for those who want to understand how to make very small changes that can really have a big impact on your website. This is it right here, is being able to understand the focus of the website. Sometimes we get caught up as designers in how it looks, and we think of how does it look and feel for us as the one who is building it or the one who is commissioning it, and we don't think about how it looks and feels as the person who's going to come and see you. um, we need to be people as designers, architects, and all that kind of stuff, who are less about making statements and more about providing clarity. Okay, so that's it for me for now. If there are any questions, I don't see anything that anyone's put in the chat here, but please feel free to email me. You can go check out our website, creativepartner.ca. I've been Bart. Peace out.